Leipzig are a monster. Liverpool slayed the monster this evening. How much of a confidence booster will that be after the tribulations of recent weeks now?
Really, really good. It was a great answer to a lot of questions of doubt. Delighted for the manager. He looked a lot happier there tonight. His team have done him proud. They worked very, very hard. They got a couple of gifts. They had chances, but they played well. They worked chances themselves, particularly in the first half. They might have scored, and again, that's a problem for them this year. They're not scoring as many as other years. But I think it was the response at a time when they look down and out domestically at home. Big questions asked. I think a psychological win for the manager tonight to get his team to react the way they did and come out of the slump. Fabulous result that will really do them the world of good, and they can get back on track now and have ideas about going a lot further in this competition.
Because they have a right battle on their hands in the league, don't they? Even getting top four, and the whole negativity of the last few weeks, people were wondering, are Liverpool in free fall? Will that put a check to all that talk now?
It's a massive shot in the arm, and probably one that they needed, even though they got two gifts. And I mean gifts. I mean, that term is often overused in football, that it was poor defending, but they were two gifts that they were given. But it's just what they needed, And I think Liverpool's top four chances in their own hands. If they can arrest, the slide really that they're in and get themselves going in any way, shape or form, they will finish in the top four, of course. They have a battle on their hands, but they're more than capable of it.
Now, before the game, you were talking about maybe the link-up of the front three not being as sort of fluid as it had been. Now, you can't fault Salah. He's 24 goals this season now, which is more than he even got last season. But the whole connection between the three of them, was it better there this evening?
I just feel a conversion rate this season. Salah has kept it going, but the other two haven't, and chances have come and gone this season. And it looked up until they got the gifts, as Amy said, that they were finding it hard again here tonight. But last year, I think they'd have scored a couple of these. They still work ever so hard. There's great abilities, like finding this half a yard, and that's just not Firmino from 12 months ago. When they were winning the title, he was dropping a shoulder, maybe taking it onto another leg, and they were more confident. And the stats, I think, tell us that. I love this. Is a lovely moment. I'll give you the credit. Damien said, "Look, it's like a salmon in the back of the net. Have a look at the poor goalkeeper caught in the corner." It would have been some goal from Robertson, and it's a boost tonight. They got the two goals. Okay, they were gifts, but for Mane in particular, I was delighted to see him get a goal. That'll be great for him, and I think Liverpool, a sneaky chance in this competition.
Well, look, if they get gifts like they got from Leipzig in the second half, Sabitzer responsible. You don't give Mo Salah these, do you?
I mean, if you watch his reaction as soon as he gives it away, just as Mo Salah, he knows Mo Salah, his hands on the head there straight away. He knows that he's getting punished there. I'm not sure if Klosterman was stepping in for a square pass to try and take Mo Salah out of the game, or Sabitzer just didn't look, but it was a terrible ball.
You've got to give Salah a bit of credit for seeing it, eyeing it, and making sure that he got himself in the right place. I mean, Klosterman is there going, yeah, it's coming to me, but, he was so quick off the mark, wasn't he? Salah read that, saw it.
He was alive to it, wasn't he?
He was so alive to it. That was brilliant. I mean, we talk about his skill, his abilities to put the ball away, but to read that and see it coming, that's the sign of a proper poacher.
I suppose, is it the thing where you do that 20 times and nothing happens but the one time?
Correct, and he doesn't need it to be, perfect in his path. He can get on things. He's so nimble, as and his strength then as a tackle, comes in. But in this side, Klosterman was just, he was sold down the river by Sabitzer, and it was a good finish.
I don't know if you've ever been in the situation that Mukiele was in for the second one. What would you have done differently, Damien?
I know exactly what he was feeling. It's panic. Because the ball's over, you realise that you're stretching, you obviously don't want to let the ball bounce because that's what you're told, and you just make a split-second bad decision. I know I can feel his pain. Ultimately what he should do is just let the ball bounce, and worst case scenario, get himself back round goal side and let Mane have it, but he's goal side and he can deal with the danger. Or even if he lets it bounce, can he out-muscle Mane? But I think his biggest fear here is it bounces and Mane just nicks it off him and goes through, so he decides, I'm going all in here, and it was a terrible decision. Really, really terrible, but I do feel his pain,
Yeah. Is there anything about the way that they play Leipzig that he would have loved it, Jurgen Klopp, because he would have known that Mane and Salah would get chances in behind. You saw that the shot at the start of that, the whole Leipzig team were in the Liverpool half. Yeah,
and they committed themselves. I thought they were disjointed tonight. They can play like that sometimes, Leipzig. They can really just throw a stinker in. They can really have an off night. We saw at Old Trafford, if you remember, before Christmas they were very poor. we spoke about the team he selected. He put Olmo in what we call the false number 9. Well, I'd say he'll be throwing that out with the washing because that certainly didn't work. And I think, he didn't play tonight, but Poulsen was missed. We sometimes criticise him because he's not the finished product when it comes to that final last piece of getting the all-important goals. But I think his presence on the pitch was missed tonight, and they found it hard
against a makeshift Liverpool.
Well, that's the
defence.
point.
Yeah,
2 defenders tonight who should have really been tested, and I think Nagelsmann played into their hands by playing this false number 9. That was just
well. Look, let's have a look at the chances they did create, and I think it's the first one. Certainly, we'll see Alisson getting back to doing what he does best, Damien.
Yeah, no. Once Nagelsmann sits down and analyses it, he'll look at chances like this and go, well, I tell you, we created enough chances and we gifted him 2 goals. So, I mean, worst case scenario, should have got out of here with a draw and got back to Anfield for another go at it. They did create some good chances, and they have a certain style, and he won't compromise it for anyone. I'd imagine that when they're recruiting players, high on their list would be football intelligence, because he chops and changes his formations. He plays with false 9s, he plays 3 at the back all the time. I would imagine it's very, very difficult to play for the guy, so I would imagine that is high on his list. But they played reasonably okay tonight. They created some decent chances, but if you remember the group stage at Manchester United, they really shouldn't have got out of the group,
But then you saw the game back in Germany, and look, we don't know yet, but we think the second leg won't be at Anfield because German restrictions. Leipzig would have to isolate for 14 days, and that may be at a neutral venue as well. It's kind of only half time, really, isn't it? And there's no Anfield factor, there's no home and away factor in these ties,
the tie isn't complete, that's for sure. But I think Klopp will win a psychological battle against Nagelsmann every day of the week. And we saw a lovely interaction between the two of them. But when you look back at that before the game, Klopp was actually telling them how bad he'd played at Anfield the last time and how poor he was. And they laughed about it, and the kid didn't quite know what he was doing. This is the modern Fergie in many ways, that Klopp is there, the nice guy, but actually I'm reminding you of how bad you were at Anfield the last time. And I think he'll have his team right up for it. It's a really difficult one. If Nagelsmann pulls this out of the hat, then I'd be surprised. I can't see it happening.
Klopp, the modern Fergie. The Liverpool fans will be lighting up the switchboard about that one. No, I won't accept that at all.